Good evening. This is James Evans. This is for the week 1 of Advanced Project Management for University of Arkansas, fall 2018. Thank you for your patience in this video. I'm going to discuss what I'm referring to as the art of project management, and essentially how project management both is different as well as similar to operations management, human resource management, strategic management, and general management, how those interrelate, how they differ, and ultimately how this impacts the overall well-being of both projects and an organization as a whole. All right, so how do we define project management? Or I should say, how do we define management in terms of these 5 categories? Project management is the idea or process of managing a group of ongoing, interdependent related projects in a coordinated way to achieve strategic objectives. Operation management, the administration of business practices to create the highest level of efficiency possible within an organization. It is concerned with converting materials and labor into goods and services as efficiently as possible to maximize the profit of an organization. As I discuss and review each of these management focus areas, you'll see that they intertwine, and ultimately project management, as we will discover, is very much a part of both all of these categories, as well as operates at a higher level as well as a granular level in terms of management processes and procedures as relates to company goals and objectives. So we'll kind of discover that as we go along. Human resource management, the process of hiring and developing employees so that they can become more valuable to an organization. Strategic management is the management of an organization's resources to achieve its goals and objectives. It involves identifying how an organization stacks up against its competitors and recognizing external and internal opportunities and threats. And then general management, it involves familiarity with all areas of business, coordinating processes and operations across the organization, and also ultimately is a broad overall responsibility for a business or business unit within a larger organization. And one thing I'll say about general management is it was hard to come by a general management definition, but it did see a lot around what a general manager does, and so kind of tie that into basic common sense and what we might understand what management as a whole entails. All right, so each of these categories I address comparing the differences between project and the corresponding other focus area management, as well as similarities. The project and operation management differences. So operations really is repetitive, consistent tasks or endeavors that ultimately result in kind of a continuous standard output with the resources that are kind of dedicated on a continual, ongoing basis to the same work over and over again, a similar task over and over again. Whereas projects are temporary and offer more unique outcomes and results. Projects, I would argue, are more strategic in nature, in that they are the decision of a project to be undertaken aligns often with a company's specific objectives. There may be some specific needs and goals, be it profit goals, be it market-oriented goals, be it legal obligations that ultimately result in the project being generated, whereas operations typically is more routine. It focuses on ongoing processes and day-to-day task management. Project management deals a lot with budget and schedules, staff and skill development. Same within operations management, but their objectives are different. And there's responsibilities within each of those categories. Project budgets and schedules focus on the life of the project, and then it comes to end ultimately, whereas operations more has a overarching budget that pertains to that department or multiple departments without any defined schedule per se, other than temporary projects that occur within operations. And again, it goes back to our point about all of these management styles being management focus areas being interconnected. Other differences include temporary team members versus stable organization, a variety of skills versus specialized skills. In the case of variety of skills on project team versus specialized skills within operations, and then time, cost, and scope constraint for projects versus an annual planning cycle for operations. Similarities and interconnectivity include intersecting these two focus areas throughout the project's life cycle, sharing information during each project phase, and ultimately both have responsibility again over budget, schedule, staff, and skill development. Project management, human resource management. So HR differs or functions as kind of more of a corporate role and department within a organization. It seems to stretch anything from planning staffing needs rather, to creating organizational charts. Human resources typically establish the compensation and the benefits for employees and staff and team members. Project managers don't have a role in determining whether or not a employee makes a certain salary level or certain benefits are offered to employees. Hiring and training of workers typically falls to the human resources department. What the job descriptions are, ultimately determining kind of the benchmarks to measure employee success against, performance, and then ultimately review when in if you will, what's the term I'm looking for? The performance bonuses that come often with team members year in, year out, determined by HR. PMs, they develop goals and objectives and integrate the project team members into meeting those goals and objectives. And then ultimately, they also will assign maybe specific assignments to individuals. Whereas in human resources, a person might have a defined role that is applied to a project, but it's the project manager that determines what those defined roles, how they're going to be involved in the project, and what's going to be assigned to that individual. Obviously, communication is more frequent within PM as far as it directly impacts the success of the project. Communication, of course, is critical across an organization. HR focuses on maximizing use of company personnel, whereas the PM focuses on using the staffing resources to fulfill the goals of the project. Similarities include both project managers and human resource managers have to have strong leadership skills, be able to lead and drive a team to success, both as relates to organization as well as a project and the individual. Again, communication is critical. And then ultimately, while the PM has a lack of hire and fire ability, they still provide the influence or the ability to focus on making sure the team member is held accountable, which ultimately can result in negative or positive consequences from the human resources side of the house. Project and strategic management. So I would argue that in learning about project management, as we have in the past as well as throughout this course, we'll see that a lot of project management foundation is built on the strategic management initiatives taking place within an organization. And by that I mean is that strategic management, for example, involves short and long-term business planning to reach long-term goals. So projects that are undertaken by an organization or by a company have to align with the strategic focus of the business. In strategic management, the entire business is striving for future company success, whereas in project management, the goal really is to focus on the success of the individual project at hand, which does ultimately impact corporate-wide success as a whole. Strategic management focuses on understanding how to respond or adapt to changing circumstances and ultimately how this impacts the project and overall business. Similarities, both focus overall on risk management. Really, like I just shared, the success of the project or projects undertaken drives success at the strategic management level because strategic decisions flow down to what projects are taken on by the company. And ultimately, strategic management are often made up of smaller projects, and PMs are needed to manage these and other projects successfully, so to meet these overarching strategic objectives. So the last focus area is project and general management. General management it ties a lot into operations management, but from a basic perspective, General management is kind of an ongoing function, and it really touches all. Wow, sorry, my screen just popped, and I'm going to pause this, guys, momentarily because the lighting on this is going out. Sorry, guys, I had to change positions as my phone needs to be charged, and I do not have a long enough cord to reach the table. So I'm going to wrap this up here. So where I left off was the differences between project and general management. Now, as far as project management, so going back to general management, again, it touches on several areas and functions across multiple disciplines, from human resources to accounting to legal, etc. Now, project management will be ultimately affected by those areas, but project management as a whole is focused on managing a project to completion and includes such things as an established budget and schedule, define temporary project roles, single delivery item, things of that nature. The functional management of resources of team members, staff needs, etc., fall under the guidance of the general manager or general management as a whole, whereas project role, responsibility, and resource allocation, etc., are more directed or guided by the project manager. So, for example, in my first position with Northrop Grumman about 3 years ago, I was part of a project team. I had a functional manager. I had a certain role within the company, as well as on a specific program that I was a part of. But I had responsibilities on that program, and I answered to my functional manager as far as things like time reporting, performance results, overall organizational structure. But then I also had to answer to the PM as far as delivery on the project, what he needed of me, and things of that nature. So that's kind of how there's differences and similarities. And then also ultimately similarities between project and general management. While general or operation management, which kind of ties into this, is more broad, both it and project management have oversight in the areas, as I mentioned above, about planning, managing budget, driving team-oriented results, human resource management, both as a functional organization and on a project team, and other matrix type responsibilities. And ultimately across all disciplines, resource needs, schedule, budget alignment, etc., coordinated efforts made by both general management and project management to ensure project operations and team success. In conclusion, essentially, project management is now a critical component of enterprise-wide success. However, project management does not operate in isolation. Rather, it is a discipline that interacts with the key functional areas of operations, human resources, strategic, and general management. These 5 focus areas are the foundational components that ensure an organization is able to operate efficiently, drive team member results, and achieve corporate goals and initiatives. Project management is the cog that holds the wheel together, but without the other focus areas, success cannot be sustained. That is my own analysis. Here's my reference page. Now, I'm sorry I'm past the 7-minute mark, but a lot of information to share. Hope you got a lot out of that. It's definitely interesting to learn about how they interact and influence they have on project and corporate-wide success. Thank you very much.